Welcome to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, a space where we break free from tradition, creating a wedding day totally authentic to you and your love story. I'm Abby, UK wedding planner and owner of Elegance Unlimited, here to help you plan a wedding day that feels uniquely yours. Join me for planning tips and advice, endless inspiration, and a pocket full of calm within the chaos that is wedding planning. Consider me a trusted friend, here to walk you through it all. From injecting fun splashes of personality into your day, to reinventing tradition completely, all whilst focused on building a day bespoke to your dreams and desires. I cannot wait to get started, so let's get planning. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast, episode 34. Just so proud that we've got that many episodes. So excited. Can you believe there'll be a point where we'll be at like a whole year of episodes, 52 weeks of planning help for you guys to get through. I just find that so exciting, but honestly scary because the year is flying by. It's just going so fast. We're in August, which is just absurd to me. I cannot comprehend, honestly. I feel like I've achieved so much this year and also nothing at all, which is not true. But you know, when just like you feel like, how have I done anything this year? Like it can't be August. I've not done enough, you know, but I have done a lot. I started a podcast, you know, I'm working with more wedding couples, lots of things in my personal life too. We've got a puppy, like, you know, life's been busy. I've achieved a lot, but it just doesn't feel like it could possibly be August. So gosh, I get it. Take this as your reminder that life flies by fast. If you have a year or 2 years to plan your wedding, do not think that you've got plenty of time. You do have plenty of time, but don't think that like, oh, we can just leave it. Because my God, does time fly by. But hi, welcome back. How you doing? I am thrilled to be sat here again. Favorite part of the week, sitting here and recording this podcast, truly. Oh, I just love doing it. Love doing it. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you are having fun planning. Hope these episodes are helpful for you. Little side note as well, if you've ever got a question or you just got something you want to ask me about one of the episodes, you can just DM me. Just send me a message. People do it all the time. Not all the time, but every now, you know, every couple of episodes, people will message me and say, oh, this was really helpful. I have another question about this. Or, oh, I really like this episode. Could you talk more about this? Or it got me thinking about this. How would you handle that? Just send me a message. Let's chat. The best place to kind of get me tends to be Instagram or my email, both of which are in the show notes. So go find those, come find me, have a chat. Let's talk weddings. And yeah, just thought I'd pop that in there as a reminder that your support with the podcast doesn't have to end here. And I'm here to help you through the whole process, whether that's just as a friendly chat in the DMs, whether you need some extra support as a wedding planner, whether you want different episodes about things in the podcast. I have people do that all the time and I add it to my list of things. I've got a huge list of things that I need to work through and make episodes on. And we do it that way. So yeah, if you want to reach out or chat, don't be scared. I'm really friendly. We can just chat. So send me a message. I'm also going to put a side note out there because I don't know how well my podcast recording software is going to edit out the background noise. Puppy is being quiet, but he's chewing a lot and he's I've left him without all the squeaky toys, essentially no squeaky toys, but this dog will find a way to make a noise. He's teething, bless him. So everything is a chewing surface and his little collar's rattling around in the background. It's bugging me, but I'm hoping that the microphone doesn't pick it up. I do feel like I spend every episode talking about my puppy, but honestly, he's my whole personality at this point. I am like 50% wedding planner, 50% dog mum. There's nothing else going on, truly. And I'm okay with that. This is my whole personality now. So anyway, he's going to settle down, aren't you? Please go to bed. Have a little nap. Go on. He's thinking about it. Okay, we are going to get straight into things whilst that is going on over there in the background. Today, we are talking about wedding planners, a topic that I am very knowledgeable in. It's one of my faves. But we're talking about particularly, what does a wedding planner do? Like, what do they actually do? You know, I feel like you either know to a degree and you have some idea on like, oh yeah, we could get a wedding planner, they do this and that. But like, what do they actually do? And I talk about why you should get a wedding planner a lot. I bring it up in a lot of episodes on like, oh, this might help if you had a wedding planner, or this might be a benefit. But I thought we haven't done an episode in a while just about wedding planners, and I'm very knowledgeable about it. So I'm going to run you through my process and how that might go, give you the lowdown, and hopefully it will help you make a decision on if having a wedding planner is right for you. If it's not, you might still have questions, and that's okay. But hopefully this will be of some help. And yeah, we're going to get straight on into it. Before we do, as always, if you're enjoying the podcast, if you like listening to me ramble, if you're finding it helpful in any way, shape, or form, please follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, whichever platform you're on, however you're listening to us or watching. Do what you got to do to give me some good data, because it does help. It does help. And we are growing slowly, and I am so, so grateful. So yeah, let's dive on in. So, wedding planners, my favorite topic in the world. It's my dream job. The dream job that I didn't even know was my dream job. Going through school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. This was never, ever, ever, ever on my cards of, yep, I'm going to be a wedding planner when I grow up. I knew I wanted a big, beautiful wedding. And I guess I knew I loved weddings and wanted that big dream day, but being a wedding planner for other people was never even on the cards. I liked acting growing up, still do. I wanted to be an actress for a bit. I almost went into psychology. I did a bit of TV production at uni, stuff like that. But this side of things was never on the cards. I knew I wanted a business. I didn't know what it was going to be. And honestly, I cannot tell you how grateful I am that it's turned out this way. And I truly, genuinely feel like this is my dream job. It's the best. And I will stop talking in a minute and bragging about it. But if you don't love your job, it makes me sad. It does. I grew up being told that you just have to work. You just have to work. Everybody needs a job. You've got to pay the bills. Everyone has to work. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. You just have to get a job. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be me. I have to find something that I'm passionate about. Otherwise, I can't get out of bed in the morning. There's no purpose for me. There's no reason. And this truly gets me out of bed in the morning. I love what I do. So a little preface to say that being a wedding planner is the best job in the world. Working in the wedding industry in general, incredible job. But I do feel like if you're not in the wedding industry and you don't know what it's all about, you kind of just come into this process thinking, okay, I'm going to plan a wedding now. You don't really know what everyone does. Like, okay, a florist does what a florist does, and, some things are pretty obvious. A stationer does this and all this other stuff, but there's certain things where there's different variations on like what a wedding planner does, or what a wedding stylist does, or what, a coordinator does. There's different variations on things. And I feel like coming into that process, it can be confusing to be like, well, what does this person do? What is included? And what's not included, and which one's the best one for us to go for? And particularly when we are in a space of people being able to plan their own weddings. Like you can plan your own wedding. Of course you can. Anyone can plan their own wedding. If you have the time to do it, if you have the drive to do it, and you know what you want, and you're just that kind of organized person that thrives and enjoys that kind of thing, anyone can do that. I've never been the kind of planner to be like, you can't plan a wedding without a wedding planner. You can. Okay? Anyone can. I don't want to be part of helping someone plan a wedding that doesn't want a wedding planner, but there are people who want the support, there are people who need the help, and that's why my job comes into play. And that's fine. But I think let's talk about today what a wedding planner does, what the variations on that are, what the process is. I will walk you through my process on how it goes when you book me, how we plan your day together. We're going to run through it all. I'm hoping I can get all of this into one episode. I'm hoping it doesn't take too long. I hope I can finish everything before the dog wakes up, as he's now just falling asleep, and I can get everything done without any whining or barking or me having to come back and pick up where I left off, because there's no chance. I'll forget what I was talking about. But yeah, wedding planning. Some people can get confused. So if I say wedding planner, would you assume that that is the same as an event planner, and that it's the same as a venue coordinator or a wedding coordinator? Would you assume that all of those things are the same? You might do, and they're not. They're similar, but they're different. I've talked about this a bit before. Wedding coordinators, venue coordinators, wedding planners, they are very different. They do different things, and there's different things included in that process to what's not included. Essentially, a wedding planner plans your wedding with you, for you, however you want that dynamic to be. It's the whole planning process, right? From whenever we jump into that process, that's how it goes. So I feel like there is often the debate of why would I need a wedding planner when I could do it myself? You know, I've touched on a few things: time, money, interest. If you're not interested in planning a wedding, but you want the big wedding day, you don't like the planning side of things or the admin, that's why you might want a wedding planner. You know, if you've just got the budget and you think we just want to put some of that aside so that someone can do it for us, then great. If you're working to a tight budget and you think we're going to use some of our budget to invest in a wedding planner that can help us keep the rest of the costs down, because that's not our thing, like we're not very good at tracking things that way and keeping things down, that could be a great incentive. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the process, wedding planning is overwhelming. I say it a lot. It's no secret in the wedding industry. Like weddings, everyone makes a joke about weddings being stressful. Oh my gosh, it's so stressful and it's so overwhelming, and it becomes like a funny thing, when in reality, when you're in that process and you're thinking, I just want this dream perfect wedding day and I feel horrible about the process and I'm not enjoying it and I'm stressed and I'm overwhelmed and I'm tired, that's not enjoyable. In that case, you might end up coming to a wedding planner and being like, please help, just take some of it off my hands. Plenty of my couples come to me and ask that question. Time is a big one. You know, if you want the big wedding day or you've got visions for how you want it to go, but you don't have time to execute it, planning a wedding takes a lot of time. They say on average, it's like 200 to 300 hours of planning goes into planning one wedding. I've never counted the exact hours that it's taken me. Like I've never counted for like wedding after wedding after wedding and then averaged it out to get the like, this is how many hours it usually takes me. But it's a lot, you know, the amount of times that we sit there from our initial calls together to the research, to the planning, to the details, to putting the timeline together, to the site visits, to the actual wedding day itself. That's a lot of hours. Okay. Again, we're going to go through the whole process, but there's a lot of hours involved. There's a lot of time involved. And if you don't have the time to give to that, if you're busy, if you've got extracurriculars outside of work and home life, like kids, caring for people, you want to still have a social life whilst planning a wedding. You don't just want to be like, okay, I no longer see my friends for the next 2 years or my family, because all of that time needs to go into wedding planning. If that's how much time you have available, that's really limited, a wedding planner is going to be good for you. So of course there's a debate of why would I need a wedding plan when I can do it myself. Those kind of people don't typically need a wedding planner. They might need a wedding coordinator, someone to take over those plans at the end of it and, you know, be able to enjoy the day. But, you know, no one's going to force you. You don't need a wedding planner. But let's walk through my typical process today. Let's walk through what a wedding planner does. This is what I actually do from when a client books me right up until, you know, the end goal, the wedding day itself. It will vary. It does change. It does flex. I'm always very flexible with my clients. A lot of other planners or business owners, depending on what their process is and how they like to do things, might have something that's a lot more structured than what I do. I like to work with the vibe that my clients are giving me. So, you know, if they want to check in every week and they really want to have that constant touch point and checking in, that's absolutely fine. We'll do that. Works for me. If they're actually much more chilled about it, they prefer just sending a text every now and again to be like, how's this going? Can you help with this? Can you email me over some of this? Or we just bounce back a few emails and they're not too fussed about those regular checkpoints, then that's what we do. I always let my clients know what the lowdown is when they book me. And then I just feed off what they're giving me throughout the process. It's a back and forth, right? We're just adjusting and making sure that they're comfortable, that we're moving forward in the process, and that, you know, they're happy and comfortable. You know, this process is for you, essentially. As much as I love my job and getting to do what I want to do, it's for you. You know, it's for the couples that I'm working with. There's no point me doing it if you guys are miserable and not enjoy yourselves. I'm here to help you and support you. So if you want to do it a certain way, we do it a certain way, you know? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about my process. There's no right or wrong. Like I say, people will do things differently. Other planners might listen to this and be like, oh gosh, I don't do it that way. That's fine. It works for me, works for my couples. There's a reason they book me. There's no right or wrong. You know, their process, other planners will work perfectly for them, and that's great. Different different folks for different strokes, as they say. It's just how it goes. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the inquiry and the booking stage first. So this is the very first stage. This is where people are finding me, and maybe you're reaching out and looking for a wedding planner. And you're looking for the right one, or you're finding a few to reach out to, or you're not even sure if getting a wedding planner is the right thing for you in the first place, but you're just like having a nose about. This is the point when people typically find me, whether they find me on Instagram or they find me through my website and they send out through my contact form, however that goes. That's when this process begins, when somebody first reaches out to me. And straight away, I will be finding out as much information as I can about where they're currently at in their process, what they're looking for from a planner, and what they want from their wedding day. Where are you at right now? Where do you want to be? How do you want this process to go? And what support are you looking for, right? It's my job as a wedding planner to not just jump into like, okay, let's plan a wedding. I need to find out about you guys as a couple on this journey. How are you feeling? How the process is going? But I want to learn about you guys as a couple, because I don't want to jump straight into that process of like, let's plan a wedding, let's go, let's get you on my books, and let's move along, sign the contract and go. I want to get to know you guys. I want to make sure that we're a good fit together. I never want anybody to feel pressured to work with me or to hire me. So we will always have a consultation, and it's always free, because this is a chance to get to know each other, ask any questions you have, anything you're unsure about the process or booking a planner, or what do you do, or is it worth it for us, or do we actually need one? Sometimes you don't, so we'll talk about that. It's always worth talking about. I'm not just going to be like, this is my price, book me, carry on. We don't do that. I want to find out some information first. Most people will reach out to me through my website, which is perfect for me. There's a contact form on my website that gathers a good starting point for information. It gives me your names. It gives me, your contact information. It helps me find out what kind of package initially you're thinking you might want from looking at my website. It helps me understand if you've got a venue already, where's your venue? What's your wedding date? We need to know if I'm available. And you can put in any other information about where you're at. How are you feeling? Describe how you want your wedding day to feel in a few words. This gives me a good starting point to understand, okay, these people are reaching out to me. This is where they're at. This is what they're looking for. And then when we jump on that call together, when we've had the contact form come through, then we'll book our consultation. That's when we get to talk about all of this stuff. I've got something to work from, and I know what questions to ask you. And then that leaves you some space to ask me some questions as well. So you will never find me just having someone reach out and be like, hi, what are your prices? And I just send them over. That's not how this works. I don't do things that way. I like to talk to people first. And I think a lot of suppliers do that. Nobody wants to just send out their prices and be like, cool, because there's no connection there. Why should you choose me over anyone else? Because you're just looking at a price on a piece of paper. Let's talk about if we get to know each other first. Do we like each other? Are we going to work well together, particularly as a wedding planner? There's a few key suppliers that you really, I recommend you like all of your suppliers, but you really, really need to like your wedding planner or coordinator, your photographer, anyone that's going to be spending a big amount of time with you on the day, other than your new partner. You need to like them. Okay, there's no point hiring a wedding planner or a photographer that you're like not 100% vibing with, but their work looks great, but personality-wise, it's not quite there. Don't do that, because you've got to spend all day with them. If you don't like them, it's going to reflect in your pictures. It's going to reflect in everything else. You're not going to want to tell me things as a wedding planner. And I value honesty and transparency and clear communication so much. If we can't even talk to each other, there's no point. There's no point, because I'm not going to do you justice in the process. You're not going to be able to tell me things. The whole thing's going to be a mess. It's not fun for anyone. But this initial process is like easy, right? It's chilled. I don't want anyone to feel pressured. We're just having a chat. This is exciting for you. Most people have either just booked their venue when they come to me, or they're partway through the wedding planning process. Some people haven't done anything, and they're like, literally the first thing we wanted to do is book a wedding planner. Like, we don't want to do anything else. So there's excitement there. I'm excited to ask you about your plans. You're excited to dive into them. There's an excitement, and we can just kind of get to know each other, have a chat, and answer any questions. From that point, when I know exactly what you're looking for, because some weddings require more complex things than others. Some people are having smaller, more intimate things, or they've planned a lot already, so they don't need as much planning support from me as people that are coming to me right from the beginning do. From there, I will then put together a quote, and then I will send that over to your way. You can take a look through, ask me any questions you have about that, if you have any. If you don't, and you want to go ahead, we go ahead and we sign that contract, we do the deposit, we do all of the formal stuff, and then we get straight on into planning. If you don't want to go ahead and you just let me know, no thanks, not for me, that's absolutely fine. And we move along. That's the whole point of doing this process, you know? It's no obligation, and there's never going to be any pressure there to do that. So that's like the initial inquiry stage. Like I say, most people reach out through my website, or they'll have found me on Instagram and then gone to my website. They fill out the form, we have a consultation, I send over a quote that's bespoke to all of my clients because they're all looking for something slightly different. And, you know, some of them might be further away and need more travel involved, or it might be a 2-day thing instead of a 1-day thing. It all depends. Send over the quote, and then we go from there. If you're happy to go ahead, we go ahead, and then we move on to the next stage, which is the planning process. Now, the planning process will look different for everyone, but for the most part, it's fairly standard. We have what I call a brainstorming consultation. So whenever you've booked me, whenever we sign that contract and we're like moving into that process, I call it the brainstorming consultation. So we've had your initial consultation, we've had a little bit of a chat about your ideas, asked a few questions, got to know each other a bit. That's great, lovely. Then we book in another one. This is called the brainstorming consultation because we are diving deeper into your ideas, into your plans. We're talking about the process of us working together, how that's going to go, and we're setting up any first tasks as well. So it's a really good starting point. Even if couples don't really want to check in with video calls or have those regular calls throughout the process, I will always do this brainstorming consultation because it makes sense for me and my process and the way I work. We have a chat, we run through all your ideas. How are you feeling now that we've booked and we're on board? Like, let's get moving. What do you want to do first? What would I recommend you do first? Do you have any questions? All that kind of stuff, right? We're talking about all of that, making sure that you are comfortable and ready to go ahead. And then I'll be making a recommendation on perfect. So this is where you're currently at. This is where I think we should head next. This is where I think we should start moving with our tasks. And it's not just like, okay, off you go and do this. This is us working together. So there might be tasks that you guys have to do as a couple. I might be saying, please go and have a date night this week and just spend an hour or two talking about what you want from this. What's your non-negotiables? What's this? What's that? Do some research on, you know, decide whether you want real flowers or fake flowers, and then I can go and find you some suppliers for that. Decide what location you want your venue to be in, or like decide on 2 locations, you know, whether you want to go coastal by the beach or you want to stay in your hometown, and then I can find some options. There might be some stuff for you to do that then allows me to do what I need to do, but it's a conversation. It's a back and forth, right? From there, it's a back and forth process. I don't have a set in stone, like week 1, we do this, week 2, we do this, week 3. For me, it doesn't work like that. There might be other planners that do it that way. I like to feed off what feels most important and what feels most urgent and what you guys are really keen to get moving with as well. So if you guys are really, really keen to start booking a photographer, I'm not going to be like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this next. Because that's not collaboration. That's not working together. We will talk together. I will make recommendations and we'll go from there. My job as your wedding planner is to be encouraging you. It's to be checking in. It's to be saying, hey, how did this go last week? How did this go? It's been a couple of weeks since we last checked in. Where are you at? Let's get moving with some next things. Some people need more of that encouragement. Other people are very good at just getting on with stuff, and I'll check in, or they'll check in with me before I can kind of get to check in with them. It is what it is, right? There's no rules on how this process has to go as long as we're ticking things off and moving forward. So we will work through our planning checklist. We'll always have a checklist and it's color coordinated. It will say not started, in progress, or complete. We can make notes about all of those things, but we can essentially then look at things really quickly and easily and say, where are we at? What are we working through right now? What's done? What do we not need to worry about? And what's not even been started? And how urgent are those things that haven't been started? Do we need to get started with them right now? It's a process. And I love this part of the process. It might sound heavy and overwhelming, but this is the fun bit. This is the making bit. This is the doing bit where you get to build your dream day. And it's fun. So that's how that process goes. It's a back and forth. I work with you guys. I'm available on email. I always give people the option, like, you want to email me? Fine. You want to send me a WhatsApp? Fine. You want to do video calls? Fine. What works for you? We'll do that. Doesn't bother me, as long as I'm getting the information that I need and as long as we're moving forward. So I'm there to support. I'm there to guide you through for every element of a wedding. Whether that is your florist or your stationer or your band or your caterers, I will be going off, taking the information you've given me with your ideal budget and the style of things you're looking for, and I will go and find you some options. And I'll come back and I'll say, here's 3 to 5 options. Take a look through to any kind of take your fancy that you want to reach out to for some information. If they do, we go ahead. If they don't, I go again, find you some more. We'll do it that way. It's a back and forth. I know a lot of suppliers, so I can recommend ones that I really love, but there's no pressure to use them. I never do. They're like, oh, well, I know this person and they're my friends, so you have to book them. No, that doesn't work for me. I don't want you booking people just because you feel like you have to, because I don't want people booking me because they feel like they have to, because it's not the right vibe. So the same goes for all your other suppliers. I have plenty of suppliers that I love and can recommend because I know their work's amazing. So I know I can give you valuable recommendations. But on the same thread, if there's another supplier that you found and you think, no, we just really love their work, we don't want to look into anyone else, fine. It's your wedding day. It doesn't bother me, as long as they're a decent supplier and they can provide you with a good service. I think I've talked before about the red flags I've had a couple of times when couples have said to me, we're going to go with this supplier, and I've been like, oh, are you sure? I'm getting some red flags about this process. But at the end of the day, if they want to go ahead, that's none of my business. My business is to make sure your wedding day goes well and that it's planned to perfection. So I'll do everything I can to make that happen. So we have this back and forth. It is a collaborative process. So we will have lots of shared documents. There'll be lots of emails. We'll have a spreadsheet, day plans, mood boards. There's the dog. Mood boards. So I have templates for all of these things to help us, work through that process. Things need to be visual. You need to have good, solid documents in place to help you plan and to help you move through that process. I've got all of that. I've got your back. I'll support you. We use what I've got. We update it and personalize it for your needs. And then we use that throughout the planning process. So we're all on board. We've all got the same things. We can all see the same things. And nobody is left feeling like, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know. Have you got some information that we haven't got? Is there going to be any miscommunication? We should all have the same information. And that helps the process go super, super smoothly. Now, whilst you can hire a wedding stylist separately, part of my work as being a wedding planner and something I choose to do is to support with the visuals there, support you with pulling together the visual elements of your day. That almost was a tongue twister there. The visual elements. So how you want things to look, what styling are you bringing in? How are you going to decorate the space? I might not have everything available to give to you to say, yeah, I've got these candle holders and I've got these chair sashes and I've got these decorations, but I can help you source them and I can help you build together this vision of how do we want it to look. And then I can help you find where to source those things to make it look that way. So it's this collaborative process. We're working together. My ultimate goal is to get you the day of your dreams, no matter how you want that to go. So we're working together and it's so much fun. It's so, so much fun. Budget support is another huge one. I talk about budgets a lot. I like talking about budgets. I think budgets are cool. And your wedding budget is so important. So important to get right. We will track that from the very beginning. It will be part of our spreadsheet. We will put in how much you are dedicating to your wedding. How much do you want to spend? We will allocate that budget, every single part of it, to an emergency fund and then the rest of your wedding allocated into categories. So we're going to allocate this much amount to our venue, this much to our wedding outfits, this much to our food and drink, this much to stationery, music, floristry, so on, so on, so on. We'll allocate all of that money. So we've got an idea. I've got an idea on what kind of budget we're looking for when I'm reaching out to people and if I have any in mind. And then we're keeping track of that, keeping track of the actual spends, keeping track of every single expense that goes into our spreadsheet. We will work to keep that updated as best we can. I think it really helps when we can keep that up to date and we know how that process is going. And I can help you make those informed decisions. You'll then be able to see, we are going to overspend by about £500 on here. Do we have that £500 to spare? Or are we at max capacity for our budget? Because if we are, I'll then be saying, okay, where are we cutting back? Or are you putting more into your budget? Can you afford to do that? It's a negotiation. I'll be there to guide and support you. There's no judgment from me, by the way. I'm never going to be judging you for any decisions you make for your planning. I've seen a lot of things. I've supported with a lot of different scenarios. So there's no judgment. I'm here to be your wedding planning partner, your wedding friend, like throughout the whole process. It should be comfortable for you and it should be enjoyable. So we will work with your budget in a judgment-free zone and help you to feel comfortable and happy as well with that process. And in general, I feel like you've got the gist now. I will be checking in regularly. If it's every week, whether we're, at that stage of planning where there's lots of things back and forth, maybe it's every couple of weeks, every few weeks, depending how, long you have to go to your wedding day. I'll just be checking in. How are you feeling? How are you getting on? Have we done this yet? Can I tick this off the list? Not everything has to be like, go, go, go. We need to get stuff done. Sometimes it's just, how are you feeling this week? Can I walk you through anything? Can I guide you through anything? How are you getting on? Do we need a reset? What do you want to do? Sometimes it's as simple as that. And the closer we get to your wedding day, the likelihood is that we will talk more and more, a little bit more, just to make sure, like just confirming this is in place, just tying up this, I will then begin your wedding day documents. So your timeline, your schedule, your day plan. And I will be checking in to say, can you check over this and make sure the information is correct? Can you find me this if I don't have this information? What are we doing about this? Where do you want this to go? How do you want this to happen? I'm then filling in all of the gaps on how we want the day to go. So we just check in a little bit more. And what that means is if we check in more now, in those final few weeks, there's less for us to do back and forth. You can relax a little bit. I can go full steam ahead with finalizing and tying up loose ends. And then, we'll be checking up with each other right up until the wedding day. But it's no pressure. It's fun. It's chilled. It's like, okay, here we go. I've got everything under control. Don't you stress. And then we do the wedding day. And those documents are what I use to run the day. I have my own documents that I will always share with all suppliers. Your venue might have something different. A lot of suppliers will create their own day plan of sorts, so they know how the day is going to go. But as your wedding planner, I will always have like the overarching, this is how everything's going to go, and I'm going to make sure it goes exactly this way, because that's what we've talked about. In those final few weeks, I will be checking in with all suppliers, making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure we all have the same information. There have been plenty of times where someone has said to me, yep, this person's arriving at 10 a.m. And I've checked in with the supplier and they're saying, oh, no, it won't be till 10:30 or 11 a.m. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got something different. That affects the rest of the day plan. Let's make sure we've all got the same information and iron things out. Things that you might not think about. If you've checked in with a supplier a few months ago and thought, well, yeah, I checked in with them, they said 10 a.m, so it will be 10 a.m. Perfect. We don't assume around here. We check again and we check again and we check again, even if we feel like we're being a nuisance. I would rather be a pain and annoy people and get the day right and perfect for you than have not said anything. And then on the day, I'm like, oh, they've not turned up. They just rock up at the time they thought they were turning up because we've had some crossed wires. So lots of checking in, updating suppliers on last minute changes, because there's always a few. There's always a couple of things that we're like, oh, that's different. Or this has changed. This has moved by 15 minutes. Or this is now here instead of here. Just updating people, making sure that I am taking care of the things that you don't want to be worrying about. So a lot of that. And through that process, it's a back and forth. Like you say, there's no straight line. It'll be up and down, up and down, up and down until we get to that point where I'm like, I think we're done. Everything's in place. I don't need any more information from you. All we can do now is make sure that the day goes smoothly. And that's the planning process. So then we get to the big day itself. And I will typically be at your venue a few hours before your ceremony begins. So whatever time you're having that, I will be setting up some styling pieces, a few bits that normally people bring with them, name places and things that their venue won't do for them or that they won't have time to do. They don't want their family and friends to have to do. I set up a few things that are within my bandwidth as an individual to be able to set up and do by myself. I am making sure that everyone and everything is where they need to be. I'm going around the venue checking, is this in the right place? Is this in the right place? Are you happy? The cake person arrives, the florist arrives. Morning, how you doing? Are you in the right place? Do you need anything? Can I help with anything? It's basic stuff, right? But that's the kind of things I'm checking in with. I am overseeing that day, even at a venue where they've got a wedding team and they have their own venue coordinator on site that's running the day. I'm checking in with them. How are you doing? I'm going to be around all day. Let me know if there's anything I can support with. I've got my timeline. I'll work with you. Let me know what you need, kind of thing. The whole process is about working together, and you're building up this dream team of your wedding suppliers that are going to come together on the day to collaborate and give you an amazing day. So I'm just going around making sure everyone's happy. Is everyone happy? Has everyone got what they need? There's usually a few things that need sorting on the morning. There's usually a couple of hiccups of like, oh, we can't find this, or we've got one less of this than we thought, or we're just trying to sort this, or this might be a bit behind. There's always something. It's rarely a deal breaker. It's rarely something to really scream and shout and panic about, but I'll be handling it. You'll be upstairs or, a different venue, getting ready, getting your hair and makeup done, chilling, enjoying, and I'll be sorting out all of that stuff. You don't need to worry about it. You can just make sure that you're fed and watered, that you're making yourself look all glam and pretty, and then we'll be ready to go. I'll always try and check in with you guys too. My couple, I will always, as long as you're on site and you're around at reasonable times, I will try and pop by at some point in the morning to check on you and see how you're doing. Rare occasions where I can't, I will still be trying to check in with you like before the ceremony. I think it's really important. We've worked together for such a long time. I'm not just going to have you like turn up on the day and you won't even see me. I try to be as invisible as I can so that everything just falls into place as easily as possible. But I want to see you guys. I want to come in, say hi, check how you're feeling, see if there's anything extra you need from me that you want to check in about. And I think that's really important. So I always try and do that. And then I run the day. I am keeping things to time. I am herding guests from place to place. I am moving things around from one place to another, repurposing things. I have got my emergency kit with me on the day with all things that you might need that you wouldn't even think that you need. It's got the basics in it, like safety pins and tape and cable ties for like tying things together, and glue and all sorts of stuff, wipes and bin bags, like stuff that you wouldn't even think you need. I have to do an episode one day talking all about my emergency kit and what's in it, but I've got that on hand and I always end up using something from it. Always, more often than not, it's a safety pin and something else from there, but I always end up using that. That's why I've got it. And the day always goes smoothly. I'm supporting you throughout the day. So your venue, if we talked about it in last week's episode, the difference between dry hire and full service venues. If you've got a full service venue where you've got a staff like team there handling the wedding day, a venue coordinator type thing, they'll be handling your venue. I will be there for you on the day. So I'll be going around checking you guys are okay, checking you've got what you need, making sure that things are in the right place, checking in, this needed moving from here to here, or can you come around with us when we do our pictures and make sure that the dress is in the right place and hold my bouquet and make sure we've got drinks available. I'm doing all those things, making sure like every single wedding day is different, but I'm checking in with those things, right? And just making sure that you're happy and comfortable on the best day of your life. And I love it. I love getting to be a small part of that. Then what happens? I tend to stop eating. I tend to stop and have an eating break or a quick break when you guys are eating, because that's like the least disruptive time. You guys are like settled, got what you need. I stop for a bit and then I can start again. I kind of back to it just before the first dance, or if you're doing speeches and you need microphone sorting, then I'm making sure you've got everything you need. So I'll be doing that. Enzo, off. Now, lie down. Lie down. Good boy. Good boy. Bedtime. Maybe you're doing a cake cutting and I'm kind of back on the scene for that, getting all those final things sorted. And I'll be moving about, tidying up things that need tidying. You know, if you bought a few things that were used for the ceremony that you're not using anymore, I'll pack those away, move them out the way. Maybe there's somewhere they need to go. Sorting out the final few bits for your evening side of things, making sure things are in place, all of that kind of stuff. And then I tend to quietly slip out and go home when the evening starts. When you've done your first dance, the dancing begins, the band is playing. Unless you need me there for anything else in the evening, then I tend to slip out around then. If you've got a dry hire venue and there's no other staff, I might stay a bit later if you've got food or other suppliers coming later and you need some support with it. But, you know, we'd talk about that. We'd go through that process. But that tends to be my day. It's busy. It's jam-packed always. And I love it so much. I feel like I've skipped over some things as well, like the big day. You know, I'm there for the ceremony. If you need music playing or you need things sorting or I'm helping you go down at the right time, I'll be giving the thumbs up to people on the other side of the room to be like, yeah, start the music, we're ready to go. And then I'm herding you in. There's so much. And you just need to do a wedding day to know how it goes. Like every single one is different. There's similar elements, obviously, but I'm there to essentially, like, nothing surprises me. I'm like, okay, what's next? I know we've got the ceremony. I know we've got the drink reception. I know we've got the meal. I know we're going through those motions, but what happens within those is all up for grabs. It's all different, always different. There's always something going on. And that's the fun of it. I like the unpredictability of that, along with my very solid structured plans, of course. So that's the big day. That's how it goes. And then I guess you've got the post-wedding stuff. You know, the wedding's been and gone. This is the most heartbreaking part for me because I'm so sad that we don't get to have regular check-ins and I'm not planning a wedding anymore. Obviously, I'm so excited that you got your dream wedding day, that it went amazingly and that you've had such a wonderful time. But it does mean that our regular check-ins are coming to an end. And this is why I love when I get really close to people and I'm like, please check in with me, please come see me again, or please just message and let me know how things are going on, send me honeymoon pictures, or, you know, when you move house or when you get a dog or, you know, whatever you're doing next, let me know. I want to be a part of it, please. So yeah, it's tough for me, but we will do that kind of final closing down of things, a final check-in. I will collect some feedback from you to make sure that you were happy with my process and how that went. I always want to make sure that I'm doing a good job and that there's nothing that you were unhappy with. Obviously, I'm checking in during the process as well, but part of the process to be like, how are you feeling? Did I do anything that I could improve on next time? How did the process feel for you? The check-ins, the documents, all of that formal stuff. I will check in and ask about that because I think it's important to keep improving on myself and my work. And then I will just excitedly twiddle my thumbs and wait for the pictures to come in. That's usually how it goes. I'm like, okay, I know completely that it takes some time to get the pictures edited, and you're obviously more excited for them than me. But I'm just so excited to see the pictures. So excited. Even though I've been there and seen it, I'm like, please, as soon as you get some in, please send some to me because they're always so beautiful and they always make me cry. And I just love a wedding day. So yeah, that's kind of my process. That's kind of how we'd do things. Like I say, it flexes, it changes with each couple. But that's my typical process. That's how I like to do things. And that's what works for me and my couples. You know, I'm here for breaking tradition and doing things differently. So it would not make sense for me to have a super formal, this is A, B, C, D, E. Like, this is the process we go through. I have a structure, I have some kind of process, but it's always open to negotiation. And I want to make it work for you guys. I feel like I need to stress as well that I can't tell you how many times I've worked with couples and then after, you know, they've had the wedding day or we're through that process, they say to me, we did not realize how much we needed a wedding planner until after the wedding day and we saw everything come together and we were like, oh my gosh, we could not have done this without them, or like this only came into place because of this, or things had gone wrong that I've fixed, and they're like, oh my gosh, what would we have done if you weren't there? the amount of times my couples say it was so valuable to have you there and to have you as part of our process. So I do think that's something to bear in mind if you are unsure about how things are going to go, if you're feeling worried about anything. A wedding planner can really help with that process. And, we're there from start to finish. So we know your whole process. We know your whole wedding plans. Nothing's a surprise. So when we turn up on the day, we know exactly how to handle things. And I've learned enough about you guys along the way to know how you'd want things handled, which I always think is really fun. If someone says something to me like, oh, I need to go and speak to the couple because this has happened and we don't know whether they want to do this or this. And I'm like, it's fine. You're not speaking to them. I can tell you that they want you to do this. And you'll have given me that permission, right? During the process, you'll have said, I'll have checked with you and said, are you happy for me to make those decisions on your behalf on the day? Like, I want you to relax. I want you to enjoy it. If something goes wrong, do you trust me to make a judgment in your best interest? And they're always like, yeah, trust you. Do it. So I can make those decisions on your behalf and make sure that you don't need to be bothered with random suppliers trying to ask you questions and bother you about things that are going to make you panic on the day. I've got you. I've got it under control. So yeah, that's my process. Hope that was helpful. If you would like extra support with your wedding day, this is your sign to get in touch and make it happen. If you've made it all the way through this episode, listening to what a wedding planner does and how that process goes, take this as your sign. Reach out to a wedding planner. It could be me if you like. All of my details are in the show notes. Remember, I offer that free consultation. It's free. It's no obligation. We can just chat. If you're thinking, oh, I don't really think we want a wedding planner, but there's some part of me thinking we need to explore it and ask some questions anyway, let's just talk. Let's talk it through and help you pull everything together. Wedding planners have experience. We see things in and out, like different things going on, different scenarios, different problems that we have to fix. So we make sure they don't happen the next time. Like, we're learning from every single experience. And I think although every supplier is knowledgeable in their own field and they know what they're doing, a wedding planner has a different level of problem solving and expertise, because we are that like, oh, I've seen this happen, don't do that. I've seen this happen, don't do that. Oh, this happened last time, I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen. And yeah, I couldn't give you every single scenario, but we do pick up a lot of tips and tricks on the way. So if you think you need some extra support, get in touch. I would love to have a chat to you. We can be friends. I will help you through the wedding planning process. We can make it fun. We can make it enjoyable. It will be stress-free. We can do it your way. This is about planning your day in a way that serves you and that feels good for you. So get in touch. Let's talk about it. Let's tell your love story in a way that makes you feel incredible. And that creates memories for you to look back on forever and ever and ever. So yeah, let's do it. Information is in the show notes. If you want to get in touch, you can find me on my website. My business is Elegance Unlimited, very similar to Your Wedding Unlimited. And yeah, get in touch. Let's do it. Let's plan a wedding. Let's go. So I want to know, tell me, are you getting a wedding planner? Are you not getting a wedding planner? I would love to know if this episode has changed your perspective on what a wedding planner does and what they don't do, or do they do things that, oh, I didn't realize it was that in depth, or I didn't realize they did that, or I didn't realize we could do this and do that. Little side note, I think it's worth mentioning, the planning process itself, you can hop in at any time of that process. Just because a lot of people book me from the beginning doesn't mean you have to. We can jump in when you've booked half of your wedding suppliers and you're like, we actually need some more help now, and I can see you through until that wedding day. It doesn't have to be right from the very beginning. If you're kind of partway through now and thinking, oh, it's too late for us to get a wedding planner, no, it's not. No, it's not. Reach out, as long as you're not leaving it like a week before, because we can't really plan a wedding we could plan a wedding in a week. It would be a lot of work, but it could be done, I guess. So don't feel like it's too late to reach out, have a chat, ask the questions. And if you have any more questions about what a wedding planner does or that process or my process specifically, reach out, let me know, drop some comments. Send me a DM, drop me an email, fill out my contact form on my website. There are so many ways for you to get in touch. So hopefully you don't feel like you can't find a way to get in touch if you are thinking about it. So I will leave that there for today. I feel like I've rambled on for quite a long time, but I'm impressed. I've got this done all in one episode. The puppy has stirred a bit. He's up and down. It's almost lunchtime. He's hungry. And he keeps looking at me, giving me the eyes of like, get up, I'm ready for lunch. So I'm going to go do that now. There he goes. Thank you so much for listening. As I've said, there are heaps of links in the show notes for you as well. If you've enjoyed this, please do give us a review and subscribe, like all of the other things. Make sure you listen again and again each week for more helpful tips. We're back every Wednesday, so I will speak to you then. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Your Wedding Unlimited podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and excited to create your dream wedding day and those lasting memories. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I'll be back next Wednesday with more tips, advice, and inspiration. In the meantime, don't be a stranger. Come and find me on Instagram and TikTok at Your Wedding Unlimited, where I share even more wedding ideas and behind-the-scenes insights. You can also watch these episodes on YouTube at Your Wedding Unlimited. And if you're looking for even more support, come and join my private Facebook group, Your Wedding Unlimited. It's an amazing community of fun and authentic engaged couples, packed with extra tips, advice, and insights to guide you along your journey. If you have any questions or need more info, you can DM me or send me an email at yourweddingunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. All links and details will be in the show notes. Until next time, happy planning!